And now we get to the last video in this playlist, in which we are going to build the spending details screen, in which of course we can create spending items that we can save to show them in the spending overview screen. So let's get started with it. Now let's come to the spending details package, in which we will start with the domain layer. So domain, and here we'll have a use case called absurd spending. You can make that a class. And actually, if we also go to our balance, we can make editing and saving balance a use case, but I think there is no logic that goes behind that. So I think it doesn't deserve a use case. And also in our spending overview, deleting a spending could be a use case if you want to. But I think for those, we will just be wrapping the functions that we already have in the repository. And I don't think there is any point of doing that. But for this one, there is some business logic going on in the absurd spending use case. And also, if you just like building apps like this and you want to learn more how to build more complex apps, industry level apps, then check my premium course in the description. That will make you exactly do that using all these complex skills like in architecture, Jetpack Compose, and combine them in one solid app and building also its own Ktor backend. You can find the link to the course in the description to learn more. This one is going to be a class that takes an instance of my private var spending data source, local spending data source, and then we'll have the operator function. So suspend operator function invoke that takes a spending of type spending and returns a boolean whether we did insert this or not. So when can't we insert a new item? If my spending dot name dot is blank, then I can't insert it, return false. And simply I can just duplicate this a few more times. For the price, that needs to be greater than 0. And then for the kilograms as well, greater than 0. I think I shouldn't have duplicated this, but however, and also for the last thing, that is quantity, that also needs to be greater than 0. And then if we get here, then our spending is fine. We can then call our spending data source dot absurd spending, passing my spending, return actually now true that we did insert it. And I think these are the only things that we need to worry about. The ID, not really. The time, not really. And also the color, we don't care about that. These four. Now we want to go to register this in our dependency injection module right here. So we'll create a new module called spending details module. Copy this name. That's a new file. And it's going to be a var spending overview module of type module. Maybe I have a spelling mistake, so it should be like this, and here as well. And I don't think I need to provide this use case in here, because we only provide in our view model, and the view model we need this use case, and this use case we need this repository. So Koin will already know how to create that. So we don't have to actually provide it. However, now let's actually go to our presentation to start with the state. So spending details, let me copy this. Spending details for now state is going to be a data class. Inside this state, we'll have a bunch of states. So var name of type string, and then var price of type double that has a default value of 0.0. Also here a default value of an empty string. Duplicate this 2 more times, but before that put a comma, then kilograms, and then quantity. That's it. For you, it will also be spending ID. If you want to edit a spending, then you need to have a spending ID here that you can assign from the outside where you pass that spending ID, so that you can edit it and to get this from the repository or from the data source. So the next thing is the actions. So a file or an interface, spending details actions like this, or just action. In here we'll have all the actions that the user can do. First of all, we'll have a data class update or change name. So update name that takes a var, let's call it a new name of type string, and that implements spending details action. You want to duplicate this a few more times for the price. Here, new price of type double, here as well double and double. The next one is going to be kilograms, and then here new kilograms. The next one is going to be the quantity, and here as well. That's it for the actions. Next thing now is the events that we can send from our view model to the screen, which are whether we did save the item or we couldn't save it based on the use case logic that we have. So right here, we'll have pending details event. There's going to be an interface again. Actually, in the action, that's going to be a sealed interface. Here as well, a sealed interface. This one is going to be a data object save failed, for example, that implements my spending event, and save success or succeed anyway. Then we can create finally the view model, which is going to be a spending details view model that implements view model, and it will definitely take some things like the private val, our use case. So insert this one. I think this one I should have named it use case, maybe that would be better. So here use case, so that we can tell it's actually a use case, and select all. For your case, you also need another thing in here, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. I've already told you a lot, but you will need something because you need to get the item that you want to edit. So var state, actually var state is going to be a mutable state of my spending details state, and then private set. The next thing is the event flow. So first of all, I channel private var event channel. That is going to be a channel of type my spending details event, and this needs to be like this. And then the flow that we can expose to our screen. So event flow, we'll just call it event, I guess. That is going to be the event channel dot receive as flow, this one. Now we have our event that we can expose to our screen, and that is the on function. So on action, on action that takes an action of type spending action or spending details action, in which we have a bunch of actions. So when action add the remaining branches, here they are, and they are pretty simple, just updating the state, like state dot copy. There is no copy, and the reason why is here, and it needs to be by, not equal. So here I'm going to say kilograms. Since this is kilograms, this is going to be action dot new kilograms, and simply that's going to be the same for all the others. The name is going to be my new name, the price is going to be a new price, and the quantity is going to be new quantity. Actually, there is one more action, which is save as spending. That's also, let's put it down here. It's going to be just a data object, since we don't need to pass anything right here. So let's call it save spending, like this. That's the last action that we are missing. Right here, we just want to save our spending. We can create a function for that. Private var save spending that returns a boolean whether we did save or not. Fun, I make this mistake a lot. So private fun that returns a boolean. We first need to create a spending. Var spending is going to be a new spending, like this. So spending ID is going to be the default null because I don't have an ID yet. Roam database will generate that, but in your case it's going to be the same ID as the user passed because they want to edit a spending, maybe. So the name is going to be my state.name, price state.price, kilograms state.kilograms, and quantity state.quantity. And then the date, so date time UTC is going to be zone date time.now, which is today's date. Then we want to return our use case, actually return absurd spending use case, passing my spending like this. And this one has to be a private suspend fun. Actually, I'm using the operator function invoke right here so that I don't need to call any other function when I use this use case, because that's just easier and more readable. We need to call it right here. So we're going to say if save spending, if we did actually return true, we need to launch a coroutine in view model scope. If that's true, we want to send with our channel that we did save that. So spending details event dot success or save success, else we didn't, just copy this, paste it, save failed or failure. And that's it for the view model. Now we just want to show all of this stuff in our screen. So right here, we want to create a new file called spending details screen details, like this. And I'm actually going to copy this. It's going to be a file. We want to use our live templates again, and that is spending details screen, spending details view model, spending details state, spending details action. The theme is going to be my spending tracker theme. We need one lambda function right here, which is on save spending. Does not take anything, just like this, which means we need to pop this screen from the backstack. And I'm actually going to go to my core presentation main activity to call that, because I don't know if I called it, maybe I didn't. Of course I didn't. So my spending details core, screen core, here I need that thing which is on save, which means I just want to use my nav controller dot pop from the backstack to go back to the previous screen, which is the spending overview, and then we'll see our item that we just added. We first want to observe our events. So right here, we need the context first because we need to show a toast. So context local context dot current, and we need to do that in a launched effect, passing unit or true as a key since we want this to be launched only once. Now we want our view model dot event dot collect latest, or actually not latest. We want to do only collect. We want all the events that we might get because they are all important to me. So when event, actually I didn't write that right here. So event, when event is add the remaining benches. Success, I'm going to call my own save spending, which means that's it. I can leave the screen, my spending is saved. Otherwise, I'm going to show a toast. Toast.make text, pass in the context, and I'm going to say error, make sure to enter valid, maybe spending info if we have something missing. And then we're going to write toast.length long dot show to show the toast. We can go now and create our screen. The first thing is we need a scaffold, and I don't think I'm going to write it since I already created it. I can go to my spending overview maybe and copy it from there. Just change it a little bit because it's too much code to write. So up here, so we'll create a scaffold. Again, we need scaffold all the time. For this scaffold, we need a top bar. And let's actually see what we are going to build. As you can see, we have a top bar with an icon and some other stuff. And actually this top bar looks like this one. Actually, they look the same. We just want to put it right here. So top up bar, and let's go to a new line. Let's add this annotation. The text is going to be text, and let's say add spending. The font family always in this text that is in the top bar is going to be Montserrat. The font size is going to be, let's say 25.sp. Import sp. The font, actually the color is going to be material theme dot color scheme dot primary, and then in our top bar we need to define some colors for it that are going to be top up bar defaults dot top up bar colors, and we want the container color to be transparent and the scroll container color transparent as well. And then the actions, so let's say actions like this. We'll have one action that is this save action, and it's going to be the same as this one, as you can see. So for that, I can go to my spending overview screen, go to my spending overview toolbar, and then copy that action like this, paste it here. The only thing is that when we click on it, we want to call our own action function, our spending details action dot save spending, because we want to save it. And here we'll have an icon inside of a text. So icon, that is an image vector, icons dot, let's say default dot check. For example, content description like save spending, and then tint is going to be material theme dot color scheme dot primary, and a modifier to give it a size, modifier.size 30.dp. That's it for our toolbar. And now we can create our screen. Here we get padding values. We first need the background as always, so background, and then everything will be inside a column. Let's check that. We'll have 2 text fields and then a row that has 2 text fields as well. So everything inside a column, and we can already run our app, but let's first give this column a modifier.padding, passing my padding values. Do we have an error? Let's run the app and see if we can see this toolbar with the title that is add spending. But now we first also need to register our view model in our spending details module. So here view model, that is going to be my spending details view model, passing it like this, which is this absurd spending use case. And then we want to provide also our absurd spending use case, so it's going to be single and absurd spending use case, passing get, which is my repository data source, local data source. Now we can go to our app and add that module, which is the spending details module. I guess now we can run the app. So let's run it. Let's go here. The app's still crashing. I'm not sure why, to be honest. The reason why it crashed is I need to pass an ID, which is something I don't have in my case. I'm going to delete this, or just do this. Just pass it like say -1. But in your case, you will have a real ID if you want to edit an item. Let's check it out, and as you can see, now we have our title. We can fix it a little bit by adding some padding. Let's add the padding, so modifier dot padding from the start, let's say 8.dp and end 16.dp. Let's check it out again. That looks better. Now we can continue with our screen since we have our toolbar. The first thing we need is, let's check the other app. There's a little bit of a space here, so I want to start with the spacer height, let's go for 50.dp, and then want to have an outline text field like this. The value is going to be my state.name, and then value change is going to be on action spending details action dot update name with it. We then want to give it a modifier like this modifier. We want to fill the max width and want to give it some padding horizontally of 16.dp right here. We want a label. There's going to be a lambda function that takes our label, which is a text that just says name, and a font weight of medium. We then need our text style. There's going to be text style. To just define the font family of this one, there's going to be a monstrat, and the font size is going to be 17.sp. Max line is going to be 1, and that's it. We can now copy this one for the next one, that is going to be for the price. So down here, paste it, and the label is going to be price. The value is going to be price dot to string, and then update price. And here we need to pass a double, which is going to be 8.2 double or null. If it is null, then it's going to be 0.0. We just need to define keyboard options for this one since we only want decimal. So keyboard options is going to be keyboard options, and the keyboard type is going to be keyboard type dot decimal. We now want to copy this one for the next two because they are going to be the same for kilograms and quantity. But here, first of all, I want to put a spacer that has a height of 16.dp. The same here, spacer height 16.dp. We want to have a row for those two, a row text, a modifier. We want to fill the max width and want to give it some padding horizontally of 16.dp. We now can put our outline text field inside it, but this one won't actually fill the max width. In fact, it will have a weight of 1f, and the same for the next one. Let's first change this to kilograms. Here as well, update kilograms, and then here kilograms. We can now copy it, paste it for the quantity, and then update quantity, and here as well quantity. So just like this. That looks great. Now we want to run the app again and see if we see our outline text fields inside the screen. Check it out. We do see them. We just need a spacer here, spacer with, let's say, 8.dp. Go back. Yes, that looks great. Let's add a name. So want now to create a new item. Let's say new. Price, let's say 10. Kilograms, let's say 20. Quantity, let's say 40. Save it. Is it saved? I can't see it here, but apparently yes, it's saved. So I'm actually going to delete the dummy items that I created because they make me confused. So let's go to the view model because I created these dummy items so I can just see them. You can see the items. Now let me just delete them and rerun the app. So here's my item still there. There's one thing I want to do in the padding overview screen. I want to go to the item. I want to add an extra space right here. As you can see, to do that, or even more space, so that we separate the value from the name, and no space here. Let's try adding a new item like this. Let's say, for example, apple. Let's say we bought it for $20, kilograms 10, whatever quantity. We save that. As you can see, the $20 is taken from the balance. We have the apple. The colors are dynamically changed. We have the date picker. We have a problem. Actually, I can see the same date duplicated, which is wrong. And that's definitely from my data layer. So right here, data, in my room spending data source, when I get the dates, get all dates. So here I have unique dates technically. So right here, I actually found the problem, and I know the solution. Set can't actually tell if two zone date time are the same, and the problem is maybe the seconds are not the same in which you created the item, which means the solution is to use a local date like this, and then here we write dot to local date. Why is it not showing an error when returning a set of local dates instead of zone date time? Because this one eventually somehow implements this local date, which means they are the same. And now if we run the app, we won't have duplicated dates anymore. So here is the same, or two items in the same date, but we don't have them in the same date. And everything works fine. And we can definitely try adding items in different dates manually right here. In the init block, I created two spending entities, one called fruits with a price with a date, which is a different date, and this one also another date. And then I just insert them with a coroutine scope to my DAO. And let's run the app. They will be inserted, but I will immediately delete that code so that they are not reinserted twice. So I can now, or just comment this out. And if we check this, we have the dates here in the first date, or in 26th we have two items, and then 25th we have a cable, in 24th we have fruits. We can definitely delete this one so that, oops, it's not deleted. Let me just rerun the app. I think I also have a problem deleting an item. Yes, it's not deleted. And maybe it's because of the ID. I don't know. Let's try an item that I already created. No, I am not able to delete an item. I will check that out and come back. So after a little bit of debugging, I found that the problem is in my spending list in which I created the items. When I delete an item, I passed the index of it. Instead, I should pass spending ID. That's what I need. And takes an integer. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it's nullable. Well, if it's null, then pass -1, which is an invalid ID. Now we rerun the app. So right here, let's add some balance, like 100, for example. Let's add an item, like whatever item with some price, kilograms, quantity, save that. Let's add a new item. Save that as well. As you can see, we are taken from our balance. And let's try deleting this one. It's gone. Let's restart the app. It's not there. We can delete it again. Add a new one, like for example, this. And we can restart the app. It's still there. And it seems like we just fully built this app, this clean architecture spending tracker app from the ground up using dependency injection, clean architecture, MVI, Roam database, and more, and also Compose UI. And if you like this, then you like my premium course, and you can build an even bigger app, a solid industry level app with its own Ktor backend, using all these skills to learn how to combine them in one industry level app, and also building a Ktor backend. To learn more, you can find the link in the description. And you can support me by subscribing, leaving a like in this video. See you in the next video. Bye.